You're listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner.
What's going on? It's Charge and represent Zoom the TBT. Charge, what's going on, my man?
Oh, not too much. Excited. We got our speed dating bubble edition tonight. So after seeing how some of the regions are shaping up after today's update to the TBT website, pretty meaningful and really gives you a good picture of what's happening and what's going on.
Explain a little bit the concept of how
Repeat.
Charge. Could you describe a little bit what the concept behind what we're doing today is?
All right, yeah, a little internet trouble today, so bear with us. But yeah, what we do is we put an open invite out there for any team that want to make a pitch for themselves, kind of sell their team, sell themselves, and why they would be a good fit for the TBT. Obviously, especially this year with the auto bids, where 31-ish teams already received auto bids, and we're already seeing invitations sent out. The pool and open spots are going very, very quickly. So this is a good chance to state the case and get on the radar and see if they can't push themselves up the ladder into an open spot in the TBT 2022.
And also, you're more of an expert on this than I am. In general, what are the people, the powers that be in TBT looking for in a team? Like, what are their main constraints? What are the main criteria as well as you understand them?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. We kind of go through this every year. Everyone thinks the best team is going to be the teams that get into TBT. That's definitely not the case. One of the big things they say over and over is reliability and trust. People that they can call on, they can trust that's going to show up with a team. They're going to get their videos in. They're going to follow the TBT processes and procedures. Goes a long way. So trust is a big one. Reliability. And I think that's what you saw when they were letting the auto bids take place is, you won last year. That means you showed up, you took care of your business. You'll show up again in 2022 and take care of your business. And then obviously you need to have some kind of fan appeal. There's a story to tell. And, a lot of that shifts towards the alumni team. So obviously if you have an alumni base following you, you have a little bit of an extra shot at it. And then last but not least, certainly as talent, you can't show up with guys like me and Hayner on your roster and make it into TBT 2022. Hayner's working out and going to try to dunk in June.
June 26th to June 27th.
You can't have guys like us on your team. So obviously that does still play into the overall appeal of TBT. So, but more than anything, that marketability and that what narrative do you have? Why do people have interest in you? And can you pull in a crowd to watch you on ESPN networks?
Yeah. On that note, then, so let's talk a little bit about what we're doing today. So first things first, we put out an open categorization or an open call for teams. And this is the field as we projected as of our last bracketology. This is obviously not a final say, but this is where we stood last time. There's been some moves. As of today, you might have seen the news. Eberline Drive has actually now moved to Wichita, I believe. Or is it Omaha or Wichita?
Wichita, yeah. So should be a toss-up 1-2 between them and the Aftershocks. Obviously, Wichita went a little deeper last year. I think Eberline is probably a stronger team overall. So strong 1-2 there in Wichita.
But the design of this show, however, was not to get the teams that were more safe. The design of this one was to get the teams that needed a little help. So we are today going to emphasize, it's all just killing me here. I'm tech issues today. So these are the teams we're going to be talking about. These are the teams we're talking about. We're talking about the teams on the bubble. So we are dealing more with your 5 or lower, your 7s, your 8s, or teams that we currently have out. Now, the constraints of this is what we ask people to do is to get us a video where they pitched, not just us, but the entire TBT community to talk about what they wanted to do today. So they're going to be showing us their best options via video, and then we'll discuss each team afterwards. Again, if you're watching us on Twitter, you're watching us on Facebook, you're watching us on the YouTube, please feel free to comment, and we'll be asking you questions about what you guys think about the teams and their options. Without that, no need to get too deep in this. Our first team we're talking today will be the Bleed Green team, the North Texas team. Charge, how's this hit you before you even see the video? Like, what's exciting about a team like the Mean Green or the Bleed Green?
I think this is a trend where we're really starting to see is some of these college teams, alumni teams who have had a really good success recently in their conferences, getting some national recognition in North Texas definitely fits that bill. So I won't quote their resume. Obviously, it's going to be in the video. But what I really like about this team and what we're seeing from these younger teams are that they're bringing in some guys just straight out of college, some young legs, some good energy, and bringing in some veterans like Shannon Shorter to kind of tie it all together. But I think we're seeing a trend of in the past, and this is why the bubble's so important, and you got to make your case. In the past, some of these first-year alumni teams struggle to get in, and we've seen them get bounced like James Madison was in the past. And this year, you've already seen the Panamaniacs from New Mexico State accepted, Natty Nation or Nasty Natty accepted, and so obviously they're close in geography. But I think we're going to see a big run on first-year alumni team if they show up with the right product, get in, and really shrink that bubble on some of the non-alumni teams.
Fair enough. Let's get right to the videos. So let's go ahead and start showing what the Mean Green have to say to us.
Hey, what's up, guys? DJ Draper checking in. I'll be partnering with JJ Murray as a general manager for Bleed Green. We'll be representing the University of North Texas. We plan on playing in the Wichita Regional. They've got great history there, and as far as location, we think it'll work out pretty good for us. Our goals are to win the whole thing. We think we got guys that can really compete at a high level. They have a chip on their shoulder. They've been told that they're not good enough for a long time, but newsflash, these guys are good enough and they're going to prove it. Our team leadership are two guys that were very impactful during our 3-year championship run at North Texas. 3 years, 2020, 2021, and 2022. Drew Jansen and Dre Shaw. They have an unbelievable way about them that brings people together, and their basketball minds are really good. So I'll kick it to JJ to tell you a little bit more about our team.
What's up, guys? So kind of what DJ talked about, I'm going to touch on our team a little bit. And the first thing that I wanted to mention was how in the last 5 years, North Texas is the only team to have an NCAA, NIT, and CBI postseason win. And there's not many teams that can say they've won championships in 4 of the last 5 years. And I think when teams think of North Texas, they first think of defense with guys who are tough, scrappy, and gritty. And we feel like our first few commitments represent that. And Zach Simmons, who's arguably our best big man in school history and just now finishing up his first year as a pro, 7-year pro, Jordan Williams, who has actually played in the TBT before, and a 10-year pro, and Shannon Shorter, who's played on 2 different teams in 2 different TBT tournaments. And, with me and DJ being walk-on turned scholarship players, we use the opportunity to win championships, and we feel like if the TBT gives us a chance that we can do the same thing.
Yeah, so very convincing, Charge. You see a team like that comes with a lot of chutzpah and a lot of respect. I like the idea of them being a multiple level wins. NIT, NCAA, CBI. For people who don't watch college basketball, CBI is a lower tier tournament, but it's a chance for mid-majors to make their mark in a year. So first of all, how does success among multiple levels really seem to sell this program, Charge?
Yeah, well, that's just the thing. They're typically overlooked, but they have that winning pedigree. So they've gone out and showed in the past 3 years that they can go out and compete at a high level and pull some wins together. And that's really what it's about in the TBT. They don't care where you played. We see D2, we see D3. So it doesn't matter where you came from, where you played. If you show up with the right team and ready to go, you're absolutely going to make a run at the TBT.
Real quick, too, we have to go ahead and say, because of the whole D2 thing, just a side note, the D2 head coach, you guys heard, Queens University is going to be promoting itself to the A-Sun this year, which means the program D2 will, as of next season, have a D1 head coach. So a lot of congratulations to Grant. We know how hard he works, and we know what a big advantageous thing that is to be at the D1 level despite their branding. So that's a pretty cool thing. So, Charge, we have them currently, the Bleed Green is out. But I think that seems a bit of a tough thing now. Charge, how do you feel about them in Wichita, despite Eberline going there now?
Yeah, no, I think Bleed Green is going to be in. I've seen enough of their squad. They're coming together nicely. Good, reliable pieces. Very well organized this early in the game, and just what I'm seeing from TBT in regards to some of these alumni teams getting some early exceptions. We know ultimately there's always going to be high level, not alumni teams, but this just really fits the narrative and where TBT would like to go in the future. So I see them. I wouldn't say as far as a lock yet, but I think they're very solid. 7-8 seed, and Wichita could move up a little bit depending on who else they add to the roster. And my only experience ever with anyone from North Texas, my only broken bone, I had a guy from North Texas break my arm. So I'm still going to pull for him. It was church league softball well over 20 years ago. This guy was a cornerback from North Texas playing shortstop. I was in the outfield and pop fly between us, and this dude just ran me and broke my arm. I felt like I got hit by a freight train. So these guys are tough out in North Texas, and that's my only experience with anyone from North Texas. So
yeah, there you go.
Fun fact of the day.
There you go, from charges to the mouth.
Still get some pain every once in a while.
Well, let's be honest. It's not so sort. It doesn't compare to the pain we get from looking at your face when we do this. Okay, next team.
Not at all.
The next team we've got, we're going to talk a little bit about. So, Bleed Green, we're thinking has a pretty good chance. We're going to go on to Hoops for ALSF. So, Charge, this is a team that you actually have a real soft spot for.
I do. But just based on some of my earlier comments, I just don't know where the fit is for who's for ALSF. It's a team. They've got good leadership. Jordan has been hustling for the last couple of years, trying to put his team in a good position. They do have some decent talent. It's not as recognizable as some of the other teams, and I think that's where it gets kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit. So when you start to bounce them up against Xavier, obviously he's just insane, but you start bouncing them up against some of the bubble teams, you're going to have like Peacock and North Texas and some of these other kind of teams that have a little more of a story, a little more of a fan base. So I think it's going to be challenging, but like I said, this is a team I've kind of followed the last couple of years, pulling for. Hope they find a way in, but I think this is unfortunately a long shot from where I see it.
Okay, on that note, let's go ahead and let's let them put it in their own words. We're going to go to the video where the speed dating happens for Hoops for ALSF.
Hey, it's Jordan, GM Hoops for ALSF. I just want to get on here and talk about our team for this summer's the basketball tournament. Number one thing was that we play for Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation. It's a foundation that helps fight childhood cancer. So we are playing for something bigger than basketball. We're playing for these children all across the world fighting this disease. And we want to show them that they're not fighting alone, that this team will fight for them on the national stage. Secondly, any region is good for us. I know we're in the Xavier region right now, but we're good to play anywhere, anytime. And lastly, we have 2 guards committed, 2 guards from New York, Mike Williams and Marcus Patterson. Roster will be announced soon. We have a couple more that we're going to be adding, so stay tuned. And I hope we get in this summer. Thank you.
Now, it's worth mentioning after that video, first of all, short and sweet, which we really like. They describe the charity, talk about what they're doing. One thing you look at the graphics we have is we use the pages from the TBT, their official video commitments. So even though he says he also has Mike Williams signed, they only show currently, as far as the website, 1 player. That's the distinction to make. So they only have 1 TBT hard commit as per the page, which doesn't mean that the other player's not committed. They're not officially on the website at this point. Just a fair note. So, Charles, you think not having their entire roster yet might be points against them?
I've always been a fan of having that full roster ready to go, which we'll talk about another bubble team. I think you do get a little bit of advantage. You can start selling yourself a little bit earlier, which I've talked about in prior years. There's a known entity because TBT is plotting this out a year in advance, and they've got brackets and boards hanging in their offices, from what I understand. And, to come in late, you're going to have to come in late with a real powerhouse in order to kind of shift the thinking. So I truly believe the sooner you get your roster set and put all your cards on the table, the better advantage you have. And the one thing, when it comes to this bubble, I already talked about the alumni team that are coming in this year. There's a lot of alumni team, but there's going to be 8 buy-ins this year. So
8 buy-ins.
5 of them are already gone, according to the website. If my hunches are correct, only 2 of the 5 are of the 65 teams that are listed on the website right now. So there'll be 3 more that aren't even listed on the website. So that's taking you up to 68 teams applied, and taking you more towards 36 teams that are already in. So those are the 2 things you're competing with when you're on the bubble. It's either going to be these alumni teams that form well, get well organized, and get in, or you've got these buy-in teams that got some money to go out there and make a run. Historically, they have not done very well, but if you got 20,000 to burn, me and Hayner would love to put together a nice Memphis / Charge collaboration and see what we can.
DJ Steffens, Chris Crawford.
That's where it starts, and we'll see where it goes from there. But we'll take your 20,000 and put it in the team.
Or we'll take your 20,000 and put it on the team.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to keep it moving a little bit. So we also have this is a team that we kind of feel a little bad about. So this is the mental toughness team, which we really have a lot of affection for. And they were one of the teams that actually was previously in. Now, they have 1 player hard committed. They have 5 lists there, but a lot of that's their coaching staff. Ian DeBoy is their one player they have signed. I'm sure I butchered his name. My apologies on my voice. Worth mentioning, I do actually now have the COVID, so I have joined that party. So I'm a little worse for wear today, which is why it's good this podcast is not in person, obviously. But so 1 player signed as per the website. They lost a really tough game last year to the LA Cheaters in the first round. You see that score, 76-73. Really, really close. Charge, this is a team you really like.
Yeah, and obviously he called us out on Twitter the other day, and rightfully so. And to set the record, I truly believe mental toughness is going to be in. They have a great team, and they put up a good fight against Cheaters. I just don't know if it's Syracuse. I think they're going to. They were willing to move last year and switch regions. I think they'll probably be asked to move and switch regions again this year, as Syracuse is pretty loaded as it sits right now. So there's one I don't think we're in a lock situation, but I think a solid play in, but it may not be in Syracuse in my opinion.
Well, we talk about not being in Syracuse, and obviously there is the mystery region. I'm always wondering, and this is just a global bit of advice, would it be safe to say that if you want to get in, applying to the mystery region might be sort of a skeleton key?
Yeah, if it stays the mystery region, it just I'm skeptical. So right now on the TBT website, you got the Ace League All-Stars and Autism Army, which we guessed on them in our bracketology and put Autism Army there. So that's the only 2 teams in the mystery right now. And if it's where we think it is at Rutger, and some of the clues that are going towards there playing outside is not very appealing. I would love to see them move this out of Rutger. Obviously, logistics and different things TBT needs to figure out, but I'd love to see this thing moved out of Rutger and have a traditional region, because when you start to look at region to region, Syracuse, New Mexico, Wichita, Dayton, etc., I mean, it is deep and it is tight in there. And, I don't think you're going to get the best of the best in the mystery region. So if they open that up, I think it really changes the landscape of the bracketologies. But yes, to your point, you need to make it very well known that you're willing to travel anywhere, you'll play anywhere, anytime, just like Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation talked about. They'll play anywhere, anytime, and most teams would. But if you're locked into one region, that makes it difficult for TBT to shift things around. So it's just common practice for them to shift things around for matchups and different things. So be looking out for that, but the awareness has to be there that you'll play anywhere.
Okay, on that note, one of our toughest cuts on previous bracketologies. Let's let them put it in their own words. This is the team mental toughness with their elevator pitch.
What's up, guys? Sean McGee, GM and assistant coach of Mental Toughness. I just want to state my case of why our team should be accepted again into the tournament. Last year, we flew down to Wichita, played a 4-seed LA Cheaters team that we competed right to the last shot of the Elam ending. Great game that we were really competitive with, and I think we can only improve if accepted again, which means winning a couple games and making a lot of noise. So what makes this team so special is that we play for something way more meaningful than just basketball. We play to raise mental health awareness and to break the stigma around it. We play to give people hope and make people know that they're never alone. And I think that's what motivates our players so much more, is that we're playing for something that's so meaningful to them and so significant, as well as our coaches. And this year, I think I put together a really good staff of coaches who are helping us with fundraising, recruiting players, getting donations, and really getting it to the point where this program can become a staple in the TBT for years to come. I think our first year, we were just getting started, and we put it together, and we put a great team together in a short amount of time. And now with us planning ahead, I think we can make a really big run in the tournament and make some noise, as well as raise awareness for the topic that we care about so much. So going off of that, how are we going to make noise? I think it starts with our roster. We added Ian DeBose, who finished his college career at Wake Forest. Now he plays over in Czech Republic. Added Isaac Van, who finished his career at VCU and also now plays over in Czech Republic in the first division over there, as well as Ty Nichols, who was a 2,000-point scorer at Keene State Division III, who's also over in Czech Republic. And you're getting the theme there because our head coach, Josh King, is a head coach over in Czech Republic who's going to head coach our team again. So those are 3 new guys. And then Jeff Colby, who was on our team last year, who had 9 rebounds in the game against the LA Cheaters, was a big impact off the bench, will be returning again. We're still building out the roster, and in all seriousness, we could have had a 10-man roster created already, but we're trying to get the best players possible. And I think that's what's so great about where we're at right now as well. And then lastly, I think the people helping me out with this right now are really special, and they're going to get us to where we want to go, which is to make some noise, win 1 or 2 games, and kind of see where it goes, right? We'll survive in advance, but ultimately the goal for us is to spread mental health awareness and win some basketball games along the way. And if that spreads some hope and makes people feel they're not alone, then that's what this is all about. So I hope that this 3 minutes is good enough, and I hope we get into the tournament. And maybe you guys can help us along the way. But I'm sure I'll be on the podcast soon. So talk to you guys soon.
Very cool. Very cool. What I really like about his presentation is the fact that he really got specific into the players that they're going to have on the team. I mean, I thought that was really, really interesting, that he's really starting to make a case on an individual player-by-player basis.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And hearing them, there's a big-time D3 player that D3 didn't lock down. So, look at it go. It could come back and bite them. But interesting stuff. But, yeah, and it's interesting, just kind of shows how kind of people use their connections and run in their circles. Big Czechoslovakian contingent coming in. So these guys are, recruiting while they're overseas, watching these guys play, come in together with a nice chemistry, which is obviously very, very important in the TBT. So like what we heard there. But
I also
in but not Syracuse.
Yeah, you're thinking they're definitely going to get in, but they might have to pack their bags.
Yeah, just like last year. So wherever that they'll definitely be at the top of the TBT's list of folks that they can count on and get them where they need to go.
Definitely. Okay, so we're going to keep this moving. Definitely a team we're watching and think a lot of. Okay, this is a good video, by the way. I've seen this one. This one's pretty funny. I really like this. This is Kenny Brown and the Ohio 1804. Now, we've already had Kenny swing by, in fact, talking about signing day. So he's already been on the podcast once this season. You can see they had last year's their first year. They didn't quite show out very well. 91-67 isn't a great showing, but they have a strong fan base. And because of where Athens is, but being between their chosen region of Dayton and also being near West Virginia, there's a lot of potential for them to be in a different region if they need to be. So a good, tough running fan base. Charles, what are your thoughts early about 1804?
Yeah, no, you'll see the video about Kenny. He's going to get the best dressed award out of all these videos, looking sharp in there with the bow tie and all. But I think this team, they had some players shifting last year right at the end. Things come up, things happen. This year they look a lot more solid with the commitments, and hopefully nothing shakes up towards the end. But I think Ohio University, another one of those teams that's really well respected in their conferences and winning pedigree, and Kenny's putting together a nice squad. So I think they're going to be pretty safe. It's just a matter of, once again, where there's going to be a home, there's going to be a place, but I think where's going to be the question. But I love what's happening in Dayton, that you really have this really solid core of kind of big time alumni teams there. So that's going to be a fun region if everything pans out the way it should. And the geography works really good there to pack that house.
I think you're right. So let's go ahead and let's make Kenny say it in his own terms. This is Kenny Brown of Ohio, 1804, making his elevator pitch to get into TBT.
Hello, Kenny Brown here. I'm the general manager of Ohio, 1804, the Ohio University alumni team applying for the 2022 TBT. Now, if you're not from the Midwest, you might not know a lot about Ohio University, other than that we are, 1, constantly in the top party school rankings. Yup, still got it. And 2, that we have a history of winning games and busting brackets in the NCAA tournament. Our goal is simple. Take those players that have had success in the NCAA tournament and win a TBT championship. Some of those players that we currently have on the roster are Antonio Campbell, a MAC Player of the Year, Tevion Kirk, who ended his career at UIC and is playing overseas currently, and Tommy Schmock, who just finished his playing career at Ohio U, and Stevie Taylor, who was on the 2012 Sweet 16 team. Our targets include DJ Cooper, one of the best to ever wear the green and white, Maurice Indoor, who's played several games in the NBA and is on the Senegal national team, and among others. We'll keep on the down low for now, but are just finishing up their pro seasons, and we look forward to having them join us officially here shortly. Our coaching staff is led by our head coach, Jerron Simmons, who was a guard at Ohio University and then transferred to finish his career at Michigan the year they went to the NCAA championship. He's currently on staff for Juwan Howard at the University of Michigan. Our goal is simple. Do what we need to do to secure a bid to the 2022 TBT, and then advance and win the whole dang thing. So, why does Ohio 1804 deserve a bid? 1, our fan base, our students, will do anything for an excuse to represent Ohio University and make it a party, so we will be well represented at whatever site we end up getting elected into. And 2, we have a history of busting brackets, and we plan to do that just here in the TBT. Thank you. Go Bobcats.
Go Bobcats. So, Charge, what do you like most about that video?
I just think, Kenny and his team's fun. He spoke the facts about it, his team, his coaching staff, not lying about Ohio University being a party school and good.
Is it a party school? You're the Ohio guy. Is it really a party school?
Yeah. I'm way older, and I was up in Fredonia State way back in the day, but so I've never been to Ohio University partying. But yeah, that is definitely the story around town here. So just they got a lot going for them. Both the university, the players, the coaching staff. It's just well put together, and there's not a whole lot of holes that you can poke in what they're trying to do. So I still feel pretty good that Ohio 1804 is going to be a good bet in TBT 2022.
So we're thinking they're a relatively safe team to get in. You'll notice he mentioned targets, which I like him being transparent about players he's targeting. Obviously, they only have 2 hard commits on the website. That's something their roster can really pan out. And again, they do have a history of giving a higher seeded team a really hard time. So, where would you prefer to see them, Dayton or West Virginia?
Location, West Virginia. I just think they're a better fit, even though they're an Ohio school. It's just an easy shot down 77 to get to Charleston. But West Virginia is just loaded with teams right now. There's the most teams, 1, 2, 3, 4, 13 teams have applied to West Virginia. And, it's a pretty solid region as it sets up. I think they're, just as good as anybody else who has applied there. That's not kind of the 1 or 2 seeds. Which may or may not be heard that, but they're as good as anyone in that region, so I think they can make a move there. But I just really like early on what Dayton's shaping up to be, and kind of the narrative and story and the watchability of Dayton is going to be really intriguing. See how that comes together.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so really a strong chance here for Ohio. We like them to probably get in. Let's go to another team now. Let's talk about our favorites. This is the Redeem team. Charge, the Redeem team. First of all, What is the history of the Redeem team? Let's talk a little bit about what they were.
I can't even remember. They were Utah Valor. They were something else, diabetes. And that's the one thing I think we got to kind of get with these guys is just that consistent story, that consistent message year after year after year. We understand it because we watch it very close, but if you don't watch it very close, it feels like a different team every year, even though they have the same core people that are coming back year in, year out. But, this is bar none the hardest working team out there trying to get their chance at TBT once again. So obviously they played back in 2018, as you have on the graphic, and I think last year they should have been good enough to get in based on some of the other teams that made it in. I think they had a good story, a good watchability to them. But this year here, it's going to be really tight. So they're applying to Wichita. There's going to be a buy-in team in Wichita, and it's going to be a tough region to get into. So I think it got a lot of breaks that need to fall their way in order to make a move. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, he'll make his case in the video, but I think this is another one. As much as I want him to get in, I just don't know if the path is there again.
Now, we currently have him as the 7th seed, though, because of where they applied. So maybe it's a chance. We're going to see. They're going to be very tight either way. But let's go ahead and let's let their GM, Brian Tracy, put it in his own terms. This is the elevator pitch to get in from the Redeem team for TBT's elevator pitches.
Hi, this is Brian Tracy, GM, head coach of the Redeem team. How y'all doing out there? Want to say thank you to Charge and Hayner real quick for allowing me an opportunity to get out there and tell you about the Redeem team tonight. Like I say, we're reforming and redefining our identity. We're playing with a lot of swagger this year, which brings a lot of hunger, humility, focus, and accountability for the Redeem team. We're building the game that we love through our charities, playing for Crohn's disease, diabetes, military veterans, and first-time responders. Me being a U.S. Army vet, these causes mean a lot to me, so they're near and dear to my heart, and I'm glad TBT is going to give us the opportunity to get out there and help out people that suffer from these diseases and show honor to our military veterans and first responders and say thank you for all that they do. We're building the game that we love. We're achieving a dream. My dream was to play in the NFL, but due to circumstances, I was unable to achieve that dream, which left me with a big chip on my shoulder and unfinished business. So TBT's allowing me the chance to achieve another dream. We know we've been good enough to be in TBT the last few years, but being told you're not good enough, now come on, now, that left us with the desire and a drive to get back with a big chip on all our shoulder. That's what Redeem team is about. Everybody on our team is seeking redemption in some sort of another. We're more than just a team. We're a family. And you got a family that believes in each other, who's had each other's back. Has a lot of great team chemistry. We're ready to do some great things this year. Like I say, we're going to be led by Aaron Maxey this year and Marquise Marshall, along with Raul Owens, Raymond Robinson, Broderick Robinson, and Chris Jones. We're going to bring back Donovan Jack, hopefully, and Larry Saunders, NBA veteran who played for the Lakers and Cleveland Cavaliers, and Mamadou Ninjai, the big fella. Bring him back. We're excited. And Marvin Nesbitt, we're looking at signing also, who was the Summit League MVP this year. So we're going to be a running and gunning style team. Like I say, we're going to show TBT a style they've never seen before, so you better lace them up. Going to be pressing. It's going to be something these alumni teams ain't never experienced. Like I say, it's great to have alumni teams in the tournament, but their time has passed. They've been able to achieve their dream. This is our time. We want to be able to get out there on the court, put our muscle where our mouth is, and have the opportunity to do it. Like I said, that's all we're asking, TBT. We believe we've earned our shot. We're just asking what's fair is fair. We have a big following. We're a family. Like I say, we're playing for some great causes, and we want to be in TBT. We love TBT and want to get out there and do some good and give back. So all we're asking is that opportunity. So I want to say thank you to TBT as well as Charge and Hayner again. And I hope to be able to talk to and tell you a little more about the Redeem team this summer. Let's get it done. Let's go, Redeem team, TBT.
Love the energy. I always love the quibble of anything else Brian Tracy does. The amount of energy he brings this community should be applauded. He's definitely somebody who Win, lose, or draw has a real place in the community and the minds of people in this event.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, when you see the video, you love the hype, you love the energy. I mean, everything completely true what he says about being family, really playing for causes, pulling together. His challenge is exactly what he mentioned, is that it's time for non-alumni team to make their move, but that's just not going to be the case in TBT. So, I really want these guys to get in. I just can't find the path. When you look at Wichita, what's in there right now, you got the Aftershocks, you got North Texas, you got Eberline. You're going to have a buy-in team, Stillwater Stars, Team Arkansas, we are D3, USCB was a Final Four out last year, and then that's not to mention anyone else that comes up. So, just looking at the teams the way they sit now, it's just a tough path and a tough road, and I believe these guys will go play anywhere as well. So, that may come into play. It's just a tough road. Want them in, but just not seeing the path of Wichita right now.
Yeah, I mean, we have them in as of our last bracketology. That's prior to the buys. It's also prior to some teams started moving. It's pre-Eberline moving there, for example, which squeezes that by one spot. I don't think it's impossible. I think they're right around the cut line. You mentioned narratives, though, and Brian Tracy's squad always brings a good narrative, but they always bring a different narrative. That's the thing. They've always had a good narrative, and they've never settled on one. The fact that he's a vet, my pop's a vet. My dad served 22 in the Navy, so I think the idea of having a vet time team, possibly something around those issues, might be something that'd be easier to get behind. I'm not really sure exactly what the redeem team means. I know what Brian Tracy's about. I know his players about. I know they're coming to play. I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to be solid. I just don't know what their narrative, their consistency of narrative is. Not the quality, not the energy, just the narrative.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Kind of where I was going at the intro to the team is, you got a good brand with Brian himself and some of the players around. So if you define that team a little bit more and really hone in and get some support around what that narrative is, then it goes a long way versus kind of being spread a little bit thin throughout and changing. So it's just easier to follow and easier to get behind if it's consistent.
Completely makes sense. Let's go into so definitely a team that we're going to watch, and it's going to be right around the cut line. So they're either going to be just in or just out. It's going to be right up to the last minute, is my guess. Okay, let's go to the next team. Now, we are going to talk a little bit about the Crew. Now, this is a completely different concept. We're talking about these smaller alumni teams. Now, Valpo, Charge, what do you think of when you think Valpo?
This team, I'm going to be transparent. I did not look up any information on the Crew before the start of this show. So
stop.
You're Mr. College guy. Stop. I know what's going on.
Stop. I don't say about this team. Just what are you thinking of when you think Valpo basketball? Not this team. Just what's the thing? Come on. You don't watch enough college basketball to know that.
Not enough to know their brand. That just goes to show some of the people who aren't hardcore into college basketball. You got to have a pretty clear fan base to pull. But I don't know. So you always get me on these ones where you just throw me this softball and I'm supposed to hit it, but no dice on this one. What am I supposed to be thinking of?
Bryce Drew's buzzer beater against Ole Miss in '98. One of the iconic shots of college basketball.
I'm not going to remember '98. I don't know what Valpo did last year.
Oh, God. It's literally one of the top 20 iconic shots in college basketball history. It's embarrassing. How do you not know this?
Sorry, Valpo.
Anyway, go back to your initial thoughts about the team in general. Like, what do they have to do to get in?
No, I think they're going down the right path. With what they need to do to get in. I think they're organizing well. I think they've got good core of alumni guys coming back, and I truly think this is a year where the shift is on a little bit. I think the favor, based on some of the past performances of like the James Madisons of the world and some of the first year alumni teams last year, like the Fort Worth Funk, just really stepped up and did a really good job. So I think some of those teams took some lumps the past 2 or 3 years fighting to get in, and then they got their shots and performed really well, had a good following. And so I think that's going to speak well for the Crew and the Valpo. Bruce Drew, yeah, that guy with the buzzer beater in '98. So everyone from 1998 is going to come out of the closets to watch the Crew team in Omaha, is what Hayner's saying. So lock in the Crew. They're going to Omaha. They're a lock.
How do you not know this? You're killing me here. Anyway, why
I don't
castigate?
think the Charge have ever had a Valpo guy, or I would probably be a little more interested in it.
I've literally never understood your lack of understanding of college basketball more than this moment. Okay, as opposed to me castigating you for your failings, let's go ahead and listen to the
Is
Crew.
it Bryce Drew or Bruce Drew? I can see. I don't even know the guy's
Bryce. Oh my God, stop talking.
Bruce.
Okay, here's the video for the Crew.
What's up, ZoomTheTBT? This is Jason Karras. I'm the co-founder and head coach of the Crew. We're a Valpo alumni team, and I'm here today to just give you a couple reasons why our team should be led into TBT 2022. So, reason one, this team is fearless. That's what these Valpo teams have always been. We've hung our hat on. We don't care who the other team is. We don't care what big program or big name player we're playing against. This is a team during my time that has taken down Oregon State at their place, has taken down 24 ranked Rhode Island, has taken down Alabama on the road. We've been to an NIT championship where we had to beat Florida State, St. Mary's, and BYU. But it doesn't matter who we're playing. These guys are not intimidated. Okay, so they're used to being underdogs, mid-major players, and they've all found their ways into very impressive professional careers. And we're ready to bring that same competitive edge and fearlessness to TBT. So it doesn't matter what region you put us in, doesn't matter what seed you give us, we're going to play our game. The second reason is that these guys play for each other. So yes, we have an extremely competitive roster, including Jabril Adekoya, who just won a ton of games with the Leicester Riders in England, was the sixth man of the year in the Horizon League. We have Levante Doherty, who was the sixth man of the year on a Horizon League team that made the NCAA tournament. A year following was first team All Horizon League. E. Victor Nickerson, who has had multiple 20-plus point games in TBT for Southern Gentlemen, also played on a Team 23 team that just went to the TBT championship last year. So a ton of very talented players on the roster, but despite all of that, it's no one head above the other. All these guys understand that our success at Valpo came from leaning on each other, playing as a team, having no ego, playing hard, and the confidence that we had to grow into these, impressive careers that everybody has had, came from confidence in each other. So our roster is ready, they're experienced, they're competitive. We know who we are, we have our identity, and all we need is TBT to give us the opportunity. And I think that we are going to impress and surprise a lot of people.
I'm still stunned.
Well, here's the deal. So, E. Victor Nickerson, come on. You know him, right? What G League team did he play for?
No. I have no idea who that is.
That is just as shocking to me as Bruce Drew or Bryce Drew. Whoever this character is. That's how many years ago? 98? That's 20-something years ago? Fort Wayne Mad Ants finest, E. Victor Nickerson. Come on.
This is why we have a college guy and a G League guy on the podcast. This is why. Moments like this. Okay, skip all that. So do you like the idea of having, you talk about these these sort of smaller school alumni bases and having a history of being like this? What does Valpo have to do to protect that 8 seed, do you think?
Like I said, I think they're going down the right path. I mean, they have a very organized team. They're prepared to bring in some of the top players from their recent history, guys that have played professionally overseas, earned accolades in their conferences that they played in, which I couldn't even tell you what conference they play in, Hainer. That's your cup of tea. But I just think they're down the right path, and I truly think TBT's footprint is going to change a little bit this year. Towards these alumni teams that they're organized, they come in right. I think they're definitely going to come off the bubble pretty quick.
Yeah, I think that's a fair bet. Honestly, I think they're going to have a pretty good chance, especially with having their fan base and that great iconic shot. Okay, so now this is a team that was near and dear to our hearts. We saw them last year. We love these guys.
Yeah, we do love these guys. We've had them on the show in the past as well. But I mean, this. And
by the way, if you're watching but you're only listening to us, the slide up is of Woco Showtime. By the way, that's who we're talking about. It's Woco Showtime. We had them as a projected 8 seed in West Virginia.
Yeah, I'm not going to say too much because I think their video was excellent and kind of recapping what took place last year and kind of projecting out their team this year. But I mean, Woco Showtime is a lock. As far as any team goes, not only with the history with Showtime, but the collaboration with Wofford, Fletcher McGee, one shot away from beating West Virginia. So there's nothing not to like here, and nothing. Their team looks even better than last year. So why don't you just hit the video and let them make their case?
Let's do it. So this is the video for the elevator pitch for Woco Showtime.
This is Bobby Perez, head coach of Woco Showtime. We are a team that formed last year. It was the merging of the OG Showtime team, who's been in the TBT every year since it began, merged with Wofford alumni, who has had a ton of success over the last several years, making the tournament a couple times and beating North Carolina twice in the last 4 years. Last year, we had the ball with a chance to hit the Elam Ender against region host West Virginia, and then this happened. So obviously we came up short, but last year we proved we can hang with anybody, going nose to nose with one of the best teams in the tournament, West Virginia. Roster-wise, committed, we have, of course, our marquee player, Fletcher McGee, the best shooter in the history of college basketball, had 18 last year against West Virginia. Also committed, our team captain, Lee Skinner, who's played on the original Showtime teams for several years. Also returning, not from Wofford, but from St. Francis, where he scored 2,000 points, is Keith Braxton. Coming back as well, our starting point guard, Eric Garcia, who started all 4 years at Wofford and scored 1,000 points there. Another returner and 1,000-point scorer at Wofford, Spencer Collins. And a key addition to our team this year, fresh out of Virginia Tech, Storm Murphy. And then guys we're close to adding, big man from Wofford, Cameron Jackson. Another big man from Wofford who just finished at Virginia Tech, Keve Aluma. And then not from Wofford, but a former NBA player, Ben Uzo. And also Kenny Manigault from Wichita State. And then last but not least, a returner from last year, the oldest player in the TBT, Neil Rasnick. And then for our leadership, myself, Bobby Perez, a 4-year walk-on at Wofford. And our GM, Stacy Presley, who formed the original Showtime team the first year TBT began. Then our assistant coaches, Travis Veers and Shane Presley. As far as our goals, of course, it's to win the whole thing, but starting out, we just want to focus on winning our region. We know we're capable of it after our experience last year and coming up just short against the region host in a true road game. And why us? Why Woco Showtime? Well, we are the true underdog. We are the team that the average person sitting at home wants to believe in and wants to see succeed. Also, we're playing for Jeremiah Tate, our teammate who tragically passed away when a lot of us were at Wofford. That's why Lee Skinner wears number 12. Rest in peace, Tate.
Okay, first of all, that is one of the more solid elevator pitch videos we got. Short, concise, goes through all the players. You'll notice they're not on our sort of graphic here because of the fact that they're not on the website yet. But as you can see, some pretty strong commits. So good leadership, a good blending of a established TBT non-alumni brand with a strong alumni group. Charles, do you see that as sort of a future thing, a blending of a non-alumni team to be a cohesive whole?
Yeah, I mean, they had obviously a good kind of bridge with Lee Skinner, kind of bridging those two teams together. So this one was pretty seamless. But I think as opportunities present themselves, if it makes sense, I think less now than before. But this one obviously worked. But we're seeing the era of the merge coming in right now as well. So, it's still possible to kind of make those things happen. But I see Bryce Drew here, though. The guy who played in the NBA for quite a bit, too. So apparently Bruce was pretty good.
Bryce Drew.
Yeah, him, too.
Oh, God damn it. Okay, anyway. Okay, so Woco Showtime. Keep in mind.
Sorry, Woco. Hayner's been harassing me the whole time your video was playing. So lucky I watched yours before the show. But he's been harassing me about this Drew thing for
You've got to stop digging. You've got to stop digging this hole. Okay, anyway, so Woco Showtime, despite being an 8 seed, we assume that they are very safe, actually, even though we have them in a bubble team. Like, do you see a scenario that they don't make it, really?
No, not at all. Not at all.
I mean, reliable. They come to play. They're an OG brand, an original brand. They have a decent fan base from alumni. They still have the OG brand and the alumni. They have a story in Fletcher McGee as a shooter. They've got a fun, entertaining ball, and they've also, while they didn't win last year, they gave a high seed all they wanted in a really tough game. Like, there's no box they don't check, right?
Yeah, no, they're good. They're good.
Okay.
No doubt about it.
Bubble, probably they're going to sweat it, but they're probably safe. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this is a really intriguing team, and this is the Ace League team, as the graphic is very slow to come up. Now, they have a very interesting roster. You see Darius Washington, both a former Memphis player, one of my favorites, who has also given me happiness while also beating the Memphis team as a member of Team DRC in Richmond in 2018, right in front of my seats. Also, a lot of other really fine players. An old friend of the podcast, Brent Jackson, will be playing on that team.
He's back. He's back.
Yeah, Brent's the man. So, what's up, Brent? So, there's some good vibes in this team I like. So, what do you think about this squad?
Yeah, no, they're good. They're in. Obviously, Mo Spade says the coach, Hassani Gravet. Everything I understand about this team, obviously they're applied to the Mr. Region. Sounds like they know it's possibly Rucker and going to be outdoors, willing to play out there. And so I think this team's a lock no matter how you slice it. So, full roster already when they got 12 guys showing up already. So they're ready to go. I mean, these guys play tough. Juan down in Orlando, the king of Orlando, speaks highly of this team and is involved with the team, I believe. And so, yeah, there's nothing not to like here. And, this should be a lock as well.
Definitely. Let's go ahead and let them ice that lock status by going ahead and talking. This is the Ace League All-Stars with their elevator pitch for TBT.
Good afternoon. This is Will Lee, director and founder of Aspiration Cannon Power, also known as Ace League here in Orlando, Florida. We were founded in 2019 with the sole purpose of inspiring the youth in our community through sports. Since that point in time, we're a 501c3 nonprofit that gives back throughout the community, and we want that opportunity to continue our growth through the TBT and the opportunities that it presents. We're fielding a great team this year. We're looking forward to whatever's coming up our way. We're willing to play anywhere because there's disenfranchised communities all across the country that may be inspired by our story. Hope to see y'all.
What's good? Mo Space checking in. I'd like to announce I'll be coaching the Ace League All-Stars this year in the 2022 TBT tournament. I'm excited. I'm ready. Let's do it.
What's good, everybody? Hassani Graver here. I'm proud to announce that in the 2022 TBT tournament, I'm going to be running with the Ace League All-Stars out of Orlando. Let's get this money, fellas.
What's good, everybody? It's Quincy Ford, and this year's TBT 2022, I'll be rocking with the Ace League All-Stars. Let's get it.
Hey everybody, it's Kevin Capers this year in TBT. I'm playing with Ace League All-Stars.
It's your boy, Brandon Mouse. I'm here to let y'all know that I'm going to be playing on the Ace League All-Stars this year in the TBT. And it's finna be real nice this summer. I hope y'all enjoy.
What's up? This is Arnold Lewis, and I'll be running with the Ace League All-Stars this year for the TBT.
What's up, y'all? This is Travis McConico, and this year in the 2022 TBT tournament, I'll be playing with the Ace League All-Stars. Let's get it.
What's going on, everyone? This is Brent Jackson Jr. This year in the TBT 2022, I've committed to playing with the Ace League All-Star team out of Orlando.
What's good, everybody? This is Dez Washington Jr. I'll be playing with the Ace League All-Stars in the 2022 TBT tournament.
How y'all doing, man? My name is Roger Lawrence, and I'm excited to let y'all know that I'll be playing with Ace League All-Stars out of Orlando, hometown.
Hey, what's up? It's Cortez Ellis. I'll be running with the Ace League All-Stars for the TBT. Let's get it.
What's good, everybody? I'm so very thankful for the TBT for giving us the opportunity to participate. We look forward to it. See you soon.
That was the most professional video I've seen in this entire set. They have cuts. They show you the men playing. Couldn't be more impressed with the video. And also, this speaks well to having a roster that's like locked. I mean, they're already completely loaded. They have 14 players with NBA experience, with high-level European experience, a lot of talent. Some people have played in TBT before and won. I mean, is there any box these guys don't check?
No. Like I said, this one here, I truly appreciate the video, and but just pencil them in now. It would take something disastrous on their end, team not forming right, or just something going sideways. But yeah, go ahead and pencil these guys in.
I think actually you can skip the pencil, go straight to the pen. Like, I don't think there's any way these guys don't get in. Because think about it, you already have a locked roster. You have 14 players. You have an NBA tie in Spates as the coach. You have talent of people who have already played an event, know what the event's about, and you've already said you'll play in the region that people are kind of maybe not applying for. Like they've hit every spot they have to hit. Like if you're a team that's trying to get in, this is your blueprint for how to convince people to get you in. Be prepared, be ready, have a full roster, be willing to play anywhere, and have a few narratives and have TBT experience. They have checked every possible box for a bubble team. Put it in pen. Put it in pen. Put it in pen.
All right, let's do it. I'm with you on that.
They're locked. All right, I want to lock them up. Okay. Now, this is interesting. This is a 400 Wounded Warrior. So if I've seen distracted a little bit, the ninth people, Seth Brooks, the GM, and guard for them, got me this video during taping. So here's hoping it plays properly. Let's see what happens. So first of all, what do we know about Fort Hood?
I mean, yeah, Fort Hood has come prepared every year that they played, a solid team, played ALS hard in 2018. They're tied to some really top-level players. That Brooks comes in and, could take care of business himself, tough draw in, 2019, taking on the Golden Eagles, obviously. But, yeah, they've never done anything that would, say these guys shouldn't be a very, very high consideration. I think it's a solid bubble team. I don't know if they're leaning in yet until we kind of see what type of roster they put together, but they'll be definitely in the higher end of that bubble, ready to get in if the roster comes together nicely.
Okay, so we're all going to watch this video for the first time. So let's see in the words of Fort Hood.
Hopefully there's nothing too shady in there. So yeah, this is
a family broadcast. Let's see what happens. All right, Sed, the floor is yours, gentlemen. This is Fort Hood Wounded Warriors pitch to TBT.
Hi, my name is Coach Marcus Saunders. I'm the head coach of the Fort Hood Wounded Warriors, where we're led by player GM Cedric Brooks. And I just thank you all for the opportunity to be on the show. As we look at the bracket and look at teams that are applying, I definitely think we should be in the conversation. We've always come with a competitive group. We've always had the right pedigree of players and professionals. And I think we have a huge fan base that's behind us in the armed forces. Most of us have family members that have served or continue to serve. And we have the Wounded Warrior Project that we're playing for. I mean, it's a huge cause that, that's near and dear to our heart. So I definitely think we have what it takes to be in TBT. And we're not new to the tournament. I mean, we've played very well against, a tough ALS team. And we had a nice little run in Wichita last go around. So I definitely think this should be the year that we get in. And we're just looking forward to it. We're looking forward to the tournament and just showcasing what we have and what talent we have in the Central Texas area. So again, thank you for the opportunity. And we look forward to being in the tournament this year.
No worries. That was really professional, concise, and I like it. He hits the high points. They have experience. They've been there before, and they only lost to a very top-seeded Challenge LS team by 8. And Seth obviously can cook on his own. So they've got talent. The commitments aren't quite there yet, but they're coming because they've done it before. I know last year or recent years, DJ Steffens has been a commitment to Fort Hood. He was a commitment for them once. So having that Memphis charge tie always puts us on our good side. And you and I both have respect for the military. Your family, somebody in your family served too, right?
Yeah. My father was in the Army.
So both our parents, we're both military brats. So what branch was your dad in?
Army.
Yeah. So that's the branch that loses in football to Navy every year, if I remember correctly. Yeah, because my pop was a sailor. So yeah.
Yeah, no, this is one, like I said, very high bubble team. I mean, if the roster comes together, they land a couple pros like DJ Steffens, and definitely in. So one we're pulling for, and been a big fan of what they do, for the past few years now.
Yeah, so they've got the pedigree of having leadership that's been there before. They were a 2-time participant. They've always been a tough out. Really, I think and they have a narrative. Because playing for the Wounded Warriors Project is an incredible sort of draw too. It's a very high level charity. So all they have to do, I think, to really be safe, I think, is continue to push their narrative and fill out the roster. The roster's not there yet, but once the roster coheses, I have no doubt that they'll be in one of the teams that has a chance to do it. So what do you think? Roster gets there. They're probably safe if the roster's there, right?
Yeah, right now, New Mexico isn't extremely deep, so I think they're applying to the right region to give themselves the best chance. Obviously, being in Texas, New Mexico is not far, Wichita's not far, so between those, I think they're a better fit for New Mexico, and the way things are shaping up out there, I think that gives them the best chance to get in.
Okay, yeah, so we're really high on Fort Hood. We had them as a 6th seed now, and hopefully they can defend that seed and make their way back in. They've been a tough out. That'd be a real credit to the tournament to go ahead and try to make it work. Okay, one more team. So we talk about underdogs. We talk about teams who are on the bubble. What is the quintessential underdog team that applies in TBT? What's the team?
Brooklyn Vultures.
Oh, Brooklyn Vultures, friends
That
of the
is the
pod.
one. Yeah,
John Taylor's Vultures.
It's pretty amazing. The work they put in. They were the only team last year to really bet on themselves and go down to the Beasley tournament. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them, but I think these guys, have shown, they can put a full roster together, that they have the resources and the leadership to get them to travel to go where TBT needs them to go. And that's really, really important in this event. And I know they were a tough, close decision last year as well. So they're going to be another one of those ones that are high up on the bubble. I think not in yet. I think if the tournament ends up in Rucker, I think they're in. I would put Brooklyn Vultures in, obviously local to that location, and they do have a solid roster, which John will talk about here in a moment, which you guys will definitely want to see this one. Most creative video of the speed dating bubble edition, but these guys work hard, and they put themselves out there every year and put their best foot forward. So let's see what John has for us today.
Hey, go ahead real quick. We have a lot of respect for what John Taylor and the Brooklyn Vultures are trying to do. So we're going to play this video, and it was probably the most interesting video we got. So without further ado, this is the Brooklyn Vultures pitch to TBT and speed dating.
This is John Taylor of the Brooklyn Vultures, and we got something to say. This is 2022, and the Vultures' time is now at center court, where the wrestlers are the pop. We don't care about the region, we're going nowhere, even to Nebraska, cause birds don't fly from bears. We can fly to Albuquerque over Swamp, Stark, and Marquette. On our application, we'll cross the Appalachians to Charleston, West Virginia, with Don the Vulture Pennant, or shoot for Elam Checkman in the Buckeye State. Yeah, would rather play in Rucker, where they play rough like PJ Tucker, or stay in our home region to Declan Bayham's Legion. The bottom line is we don't care, really where or where. We just need to get ourselves in TBT. And now, introducing your 2022 Brooklyn Vultures. Charlie Bucket without the chocolate. Charlie Markard. The AA Battery. Abiodun Adagoke. St. Nick not just on Christmas. Big Nick Evans. The Prince rules in this palace. Prince Samuels. Drawn up the plays, Coach Cliff Morgan. The sharpest iron has two eyes, and you gotta dot him. Iron Stark. Not Lafonso or Dale, but Akeem Ellis. Not Jameson or Walker, but Antoine Wilkerson. He's got two first names, Tommy Eddy. The steward on the plane, Kyle Stewart. Wizard, Jello J. Number 5, Jalen Burgess. The Vultures are ready, locked and loaded. We'll play like machines, perfectly coded.
That wasn't bad.
Love it. Most creative. I don't know what John does for a day job, but maybe the Long Island Nets are looking for an in-arena announcer, and he can go out there and make some things happen for the Nets. But like I said, a lot of fun. I know you're going to be singing this song in your sleep tonight, Hainer. It's just catchy. Got that earworm going on. It's going to stick with you.
This is 2022. Yeah, I think it's great that he went with that. I mean, by the way, real quick, so you guys know, I did the captions last night in Premiere Pro, so I didn't quite get all the words. So, John, if you heard some of the words or I typed them wrong, it's best I could do. My apologies. I was at Brooklyn Vultures. I was actually my first time covering TBT as credentialed press was the Brooklyn's one game they've been in, which when they lost to Memphis State, 72-63, closer than it should have been. John didn't have a full roster that game, so he was on the sideline, suited up actually as an emergency player himself. So they actually hung tough against the Tigers for a bit. So they have experience being a credible team in this event. They're willing to go anywhere. They have confirmed that. And they actually have a pretty loaded roster. Where they kind of fall down a bit, I think, is narrative. There's not a compelling narrative of what Brooklyn means. They really have to kind of amp up what it means. Why are the Brooklyn Vultures an important brand? He's mentioned to me personally, like, we're bringing basketball, trying to talk about New York being a basketball mecca again. Like, I'm not sure how he can get that to translate. That's something he has to be a little more clear about. But, again, organized. You mentioned yourself, willing to bet on themselves to go to the event in Atlanta to play in that tournament that gets the people in. Previous TBT experience, previous organizational experience, willing to travel anywhere. Besides narrative, they check every box, and they have a relatively full roster now. So we're talking about a team that really has a lot going for them. How can they push themselves over the top?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just going to be location driven. Like I said, they put their best foot forward. I think it's going to be based on where everything shakes out once TBT gets the full list of teams applied. Whether there be 100, these guys are going to be flexible. So I think they've shot their best shot. I think location is going to be key for them. I think if it's Rucker, they're in. If it's not Rucker, I think it's going to have a few things fall in place or some different things shift around to have a chance. But everyone knows how deep TBT is. We'll have over 100 teams apply before the end is done. Some may not apply if they're watching, things shake out on the TBT website, but are talking about forming like in Indiana. But it's just highly competitive. And, this is one where, if they were a buy-in team, that would give a shot to go play for it and make things happen. But taking the chances on the bubble is a risk they're going to take, and we'll see where it shakes out.
I like how we say just buy a team and you can do that. I mean, it's a lot to do. It's a lot of money. Like 20 grand's not a joke, man. Like that's a lot to pay to just get in. So you got to have a sponsor or a deep pocket. So
absolutely,
I mean, I've got money to burn, but I've got money to burn for you and me to travel to events. I don't have money to burn to buy a team.
We're getting rich off the podcast this year, though.
Oh so yeah. Our billing is up because we're up.
We're hitting
up to
next levels.
Dozens. Yeah, we're up to. We can buy a couple of Happy Meals for ourselves. Okay, Charge. Let's go ahead. That was the teams and sense videos. And again, thanks to all the participating teams. We really appreciate that. We appreciate you trusting us with getting your message out, and we really hope that this served you well. So, Charge, we'll go ahead and just sort of close with this. So, first of all, what did we learn? What do you have to do to get in the bubble? Looking at this is a fairly representative group of teams on the bubble, correct? This represents the bubble, you think, right?
Yeah. And I think you see a little bit of everything here. You have some smaller schools, first-year alumni teams like Valpo. You see non-alumni teams that are both well organized and are going to have solid teams in Brooklyn Vultures and ALSF. So I think it's a really good representation of what TBT is and what TBT is on the bubble. And so with everything in play with the buy-in teams, I think is going to be problematic this year with the rise of some of these alumni teams that are had great success this past year. TBT is very good at striking a lot of that irons hot. So the Peacocks, obviously, they're probably going to be in, so North Texas has had a lot of success. And so a lot of these teams have had a lot of recent success. So you strike a lot of irons hot. So it's going to be really challenging. But I think the biggest thing is you've got to get organized and you've got to really show your flexibility that you're willing to travel if needed. And, just really put your best foot forward. Don't pull punches, try to hold anything back. You got to put yourself out there and make it really obvious why you should be a fit.
Okay, so let's just real quick, you and me, before we close, let's design our heads. Let's describe the perfect bubble team. One, has TBT experience, right? TBT experience on the roster and leadership would help, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Having at least 5 to 6 players committed to your roster, right?
Yeah, I would say the faster you assemble, the more seen you'll be.
Having a narrative, be it alumni or be it a really compelling reason that someone can get behind you.
Yeah, and the slant there is to the alumni. It's going to be very difficult for non-alumni bubble teams to squeak in.
Experience, set roster, narrative, and flexibility of location.
Yep.
That's kind of what it takes to be a good bubble team in this environment. Of the teams we looked at, what are one or two you think are really, really safe?
Obviously the Orlando team, I think, is very, very safe. I see zero issues with them. And I think the other one that's very, very safe is Ohio 1804. I just think those are, solid squads that Orlando, obviously, in that form has never been put together to TBT, but you spoke to the experience of things of that nature, and Ohio was in last year, and I think they're just a good fit for the alumni regions that are forming. So those two, I think, are probably the top, and then mental toughness, I believe, will get in as well, assuming they're willing to travel. Local, I didn't even consider in the bubble, so I didn't even mention them. Now that you put the screen back up there, they're in. So they were courteous enough to send the video, but based on their performance last year in history, I don't even see them being in the conversation as a bubble team.
What's the team that you currently have out that still has some meat on the bone, or something they can do to get in? Like, what's a team that you think could get safe if they did the right things?
Yeah, that's a tough decision right there. Because everyone's got a good case to get in, and looking through it, I just favor those alumni teams. I think as long as the crew keeps developing their roster and getting the support from the university and fans behind them. Same thing with North Texas. I think North Texas probably a little bit higher up the food chain than Valpo at this stage of the game, but I think those guys have a lot of good story to tell and a lot of favor based on what they're trying to do in their histories.
Okay, I think that's a great place to leave the conversation. We've gone already for about an hour 10, so we should probably close it here. So with that in mind, this is our speed dating bubble issue, and we're really happy you guys could share us. This has been Zoom the TBT. Charge and Hayner signing off.
Hope you enjoyed listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner. Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitter, and give us your money.